What's your main goal? Why are you in Turkey right now?
Well, Turkey is the perfect example of a Muslim country and a Muslim and Arab country that has always befriended Jews and been exemplary hosts for the Jewish people, and to show that this has nothing to do with religion. This is not a religious conflict.
Yeah.
Hundreds of years we've lived together without the United Nations or human rights groups to protect us. This has nothing with religion. That is a ploy, a false portrayal of the state of Israel and Zionism to legitimize what they're doing and to glean support from the world for their existence.
Yeah, okay. People here in Turkey trying to understand the difference between your movement and its contradiction with Israel government. Can you describe it to our followers?
With the help of the Almighty, we will try. Judaism is a religion, a spirituality to serve God, thousands of years old. Zionism is only around 100 years old. It is the transformation from religion to nationalism, to materialism, created by non-religious Jews who hated the religion. And they really didn't want Judaism. They didn't even want to make their state in Palestine, only in Uganda at the first meetings. The reason they used the name Israel, the Star of David, hijacking, stealing the identity of Judaism and the Jewish people, is in order to get a legitimacy for their existence, that people should say, oh, it's God given to them, and that they should put fear and intimidate people from speaking up against their actions because they'll call them anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
There couldn't be anything further from the truth. As I say, the best friends of the Jewish people is Turkey. The best friends of the Jewish people is all the Muslim countries who've helped the Jews all the time when they ran away from their problems in other lands. So how could you say this? It's something totally different. It's a political, selfish, flawed movement called Zionism that has no legitimacy to exist. It's against the Torah. Maybe just say one thing. It's against the Torah in its essence. The concept for Jews to have a state is expressly forbidden in the Torah, in the Jewish teaching, since the destruction of the temple 2,000 years ago. We were told by the Almighty in a prophecy of King Solomon, and that we are forbidden to have our own entity, our own state, our own kingdom, even in an uninhabited land. And this was held by all Jews around the world for thousands of years. And it makes it worse, compounds the sin, the crime in having the state, because this state of Israel that these nationalists made it in Palestine, made it in a land that was inhabited by the majority Muslim people, by the Palestinian people. So to steal their land, to kill, to oppress, to banish them from the homes, it flies in the face and contradicts everything of the Torah that says thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, that one has to emulate God, be compassionate. So they've used our identity to rebel against God and to desecrate God's name, and to create a rift between Jews and Muslims, and to make a river, an endless river of blood for the Muslims, for the Palestinian people, and anti-Semitism for the Jews, and death for the Jews also. This is unfathomable and unacceptable in no manner.
Is it true that you are against the whole concept of Israel as a state?
That is not only, when you say I am, this means the Jews who are true to the Torah, across the board, in every part of the world, all the rabbinical authorities opposed Zionism from day one. As soon as they came up with the concept, the chief rabbis, we have documents, historic documents, the chief rabbi of Palestine, the chief rabbi of Palestine was approached by the United Nations in 1947, and he wrote, "We furthermore wish to express our definite opposition to a Jewish state in any part of Palestine." And this was in 1947, July. And then 3 months later, they saw that they're being ignored by the United Nations. Yeah. And so he sent another letter to the Secretary General in Lake Success, and he said, "We plead with you, at least leave us to the Secretary General. The Jewish Orthodox community, comprising 60,000 souls in Jerusalem, objects to the plea of including Jerusalem in the Jewish state that they want to create. Our community demands that Jerusalem be an international zone under your protection, and its residents be free citizens of the international zone." And so they said, at least leave us this part. and they were ignored till today. Jews demonstrate, and I think it's important to see, Jews demonstrate and they're getting constantly, till today, they made demonstrations and they're getting beaten by the Zionist police. People can see this is an ongoing, people being beaten by the demonstrations. We have many on NK USA. You can see the ongoing beating by the Zionist police because they demonstrate against the state, and because they demonstrate against the states willfully ignoring the laws of the Torah. They dig up graves. They want a highway, they dig up graves. It doesn't bother. It's against God, against the holiness of the soul. Muslim countries, they don't do that. Muslim countries respect the Jewish graves. They dig up graves now of thousands of years old, and because they don't believe in the soul, they don't believe in God. Yeah. And what they're doing to the people in Gaza and Palestine is because they've taken God out of the equation. They are ready to sacrifice on the altar of Zionism to attain their goal of a land, anything that stands in the way. So the Jewish people's souls are snatched. They con people into supporting them, and they're doing what they're doing, the Nakba, to the people of Gaza and Palestine. We sent a delegation of rabbis to Palestine, to Gaza. Just this summer we went there. We brought them aid and we embraced them and said, our hearts are with you. We feel your suffering. This is against God, against the Torah, and against the will of the Jewish people who are true to God. We pray for speedy and peaceful dismantlement of this impediment to peace, the state of Israel that has no legitimacy, that has caused the rift between religions, between our peoples. We pray to God every single day for the speedy and peaceful dismantlement of the state of Israel. Then we can once again coexist as we have for hundreds of years. We have all the rabbis who will testify lived in the old state of Jerusalem, in the old state, in the old city of Jerusalem, in the old city. They lived door by door. This rabbi lived in the old city of Jerusalem before 1948. He'll tell you how he lived, coexisted with all the Arab neighbors, how they babysat each other's children when they went to Yom Kippur, when the women went to Yom Kippur on the fast day, the Muslim neighbors babysat the children, the most precious objects they gave to them to protect. How could that be if they're our enemies, mortal enemies? Because they're not. It's not a religious conflict. That's a Zionist ploy of accusing everybody of being anti-Semitic. You want peace? You want to have a conference here of peace? Step back and look and read the facts. Not the facts that have been misconstrued by the Zionist propaganda. The facts that are realities. The facts on the ground. How we've been living for hundreds of years in Yemen, in Morocco, in Tunisia, in Palestine, in Egypt. What Arab land have not Jewish people been living together with Muslims without any human rights groups? Tell me what land the Jews did not live in harmony with the Muslims. In Iran, we have over 25,000 Jews there, thank God. Why? Because this is not a religious conflict. It's purely because of a political movement, a relatively new movement, which is antithetical, contradictory to the Jewish religion of thousands of years. Judaism is spirituality, a religion of compassion to emulate God. Zionism has been created 100 years ago by atheists, people who abhorred religion, who wanted to transform Judaism from religion to nationality, to a purely materialistic base, godless in its essence. That is not Judaism, and they have no right to use the name of Israel. They've usurped our name, they've stolen our symbols, and they've stolen our identity. And they are causing death and destruction, year in and year out. For over 50 years, death and bloodshed has not stopped because of a pure ideological belief called Zionism. They sacrifice on their idol bodies, human beings, hearts, souls. They rent, they've destructed houses, they've destructed people's lives. What can we do about this? Let's step back and think. There is a solution with God's help. If we would put away the politics, then we could know that we've been living and coexisting together. We most profusely apologize to the Muslims, to the Arabs, what have been done to them. And then we can return, they make restitution for what has been done to them. And then we will be able to live in harmony. Not an Israeli state, a one Palestinian state. One state as we have been living for hundreds of years. There will be peace. And you will see that this 50 years has been a nightmare, a mirage, and nothing to do. You're fear-mongering. That's what Zionism does. It's panic, going into a theater and yelling, fire, fire. That's what Zionists do. We've been living with the Muslims. We've been living, yes, Ahmadinejad keeps on stating that he does not want to harm the Jews, but the Zionists keep on antagonizing him. Of course you don't, because you have an agenda. You want to further Zionism. You want enemies. You want enemies in order to be able to say you're protecting the Jews. We don't want enemies. We want to live in peace. We have been always living in peace with the Muslims, and we will, with God's help, continue to live with them in peace. We implore the participants in this conference, read, step back, study the history truthfully, and see what the true Jewish voice is of hundreds of thousands of Jews who are still true to their religion, whether they're living in Jerusalem, whether they're living in New York. What do these Jews in Williamsburg section of Brooklyn, hundreds of thousands of Jews who are the most God-fearing in the community, why are they all opposed to the state of Israel? Why is that one Israeli flag in Williamsburg, Brooklyn? These are the most God-fearing religious Jews. Why don't they fly an Israeli flag? They have hospital help. They have Hatzalah, ambulatories, and everything free of charge to help people. The most greatest charitable organizations. Why these compassionate people don't support the state of Israel? Why not?
Because they don't like Israel.
Why not? Because they're self-hating Jews?
Trying to build the Jewish state.
Why? Are they fools? Are they fools? The reason is simply because they fear God. And I know why. You don't know why, and I know why. Because they're God-fearing. And God forbid us to have a state. We are in exile by God. We decree exile. And we are forbidden to oppress the people. We are forbidden to oppress the Palestinian people and steal their houses. That is what Judaism says. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not kill. We have no right to the rule over the land of Palestine. This is what Judaism says, not what these robbers say. It's what the real Jews say. This is what Zionists are doing. Beating Jews, beating Orthodox Jews. This is what you're having in Jerusalem. Look at our site, www.mkusa.org. They are beating mercilessly Orthodox Jews because they oppose Zionism. Pacifist Jews. Jews who never lifted an arm in their lives. They're put in jail. They're beat mercilessly. Look, this just came out last month. Look what they're doing to the Jewish people. This is what Zionism does to the Orthodox Jews in Jerusalem. This is ongoing. Look, know the truth of what Zionism is. Ridicule. That is what Zionism does. They ridicule and attack, but they hide the truth. We are divulging the truth. Look what's being done by the Zionist police to the Jewish people.
Ahmadinejad will kill you as well as everybody else.
This is Zionism. This is what Zionism does. This is what Zionism does. Peaceful, God-fearing Jews.
What is the penalty? What is the penalty?
Destroying synagogues.
Destroying synagogues. It's death. Don't you understand? You're killing yourselves and all of us. What a disgrace. What a disgrace. Have you heard about Hitler? Anything about Hitler?
Look, these are the people of Jerusalem demonstrating against the state of Israel. This is the most God-fearing community. Scholars, the leaders of Jerusalem. Yes, where is your kippah? Why aren't you wearing a yarmulke? You know why? I'll tell you why. Because you have a false Judaism. We have the true Judaism.
Why do you live in America? Why do you come back to America? Why do you go around so much?
Ridicule. But let's see you confront me with the facts. That you can't do. You can only ridicule, but you can't answer the facts. The facts you cannot confront. Hundreds of thousands of Jews still live in Jerusalem, and Beit Shemesh, and Bnei Brak, all opposed to the state of Israel, to the existence of the state of Israel. All of them plead with God every day for the speedy and peaceful dismantlement of the state. You won't find one truly religious community that supports in Zionism in its essence. Even the ones who are making different compromises don't send the children to the army.